This is Lindsay's opinion on how Lindsay should do these things, not Lindsay's opinion on how the whole world should do the things. Hey y'all, it's Lindsay. Today I wanted to do a sit down video that's not really my norm anymore, and just kind of talk with you about some food prep tips that I was thinking about the other day whenever I was prepping my pepper box. I don't know, it was just some things that were on my mind that I felt like sitting down and sharing with you. Before I do that though, I want to let you know that I'm doing this video in collaboration with other ladies here on YouTube under the My Quarantine Kitchen title. We've talked about the quarantine thing. I'm not under quarantine. These collaborations have been put together by Katie over at the Ironheart Mama and Claire at Cookie Crumb Fun. They have done an amazing job of bringing together a group of women who eat Trim Healthy Mama, keto, low carb, sugar-free, kind of under that umbrella, and bringing us together to share with you tips in the kitchen, tricks that we use, recipe ideas, and other encouragement to get through this really weird time in the world. And this is our last collaboration video. I'm gonna have a playlist linked in my iCards, I hope, and down in the description box that I would really appreciate if you would click on that link, go watch through the playlist, and then the other piece that I want you to do is go set a reminder for yourself, whether it's here on YouTube and clicking the set reminder bell on the actual live stream that Katie and Claire will be doing on June 8th, or if you put it in iCal, or if you put it in your Google Calendar, wherever you like to set reminders for yourself, put a reminder in for June 8th so that you can come back here to YouTube and join in on a super fun live chat. It's their last live chat. They have got a huge giveaway going on. They're going to be doling out tons and tons of prizes to a bunch of different winners. There's not just one winner, there's a whole bunch of winners, and I'm super excited to see what all they give away and just to be able to join into the chat. That's really quite fun. It just kind of brings about a sense of community that I feel like we could all really use. Even though our states are starting to open back up, I feel like we could really use some just like relaxing chatting with some friends over the internet, because there's not enough of that in the world. Okay, all right, I digress. Today, what I wanted to share with you are some things that I was thinking about the last time that I was doing a food prep for my family. I don't really know how many tips I have here. And I also want to say this is not my typical kind of video. I typically, well, I guess typical is a loose term. This isn't what I've usually been doing here on my channel for the past several months. Normally I'm sharing things like what I eat in a day videos, grocery hauls, and recipe videos. I haven't really I guess I've done a food prep here recently, but I like to do food preps too. I don't tend to sit down and just talk to the camera without some kind of like other stuff going on. But that's what I'm going to do with you today. If this is your first time seeing me, hello, I'm Lindsay. I follow keto. I started out on the Trim Healthy Mama way of eating back in 2016, beginning of 2016. And since then I shifted over to keto, and I have been on the keto bandwagon since, gosh, it must have been February of 2016. I have had a baby in that time. I went back to Trim Healthy Mama while I was at the end of my pregnancy and nursing my third baby. And once she weaned, I went ahead and moved back over to keto because I find that works really, really well for my body. In going through all of this for the past 4+ years, gosh, we are almost at 4.5 years. Wow. I have sort of had to come to grips with the way that I do things and with the way things click in my brain. And some of the things that work really, really well for me definitely do not work well for everybody, but they probably could work for like at least half the population. I don't know. That's a random statistic I totally pulled out of the sky and has no validity whatsoever. I do not do well with meal planning. I have done meal planning videos in the past. They are so difficult for me personally to stick with because my brain doesn't do well with a rigid plan, even if it's just a loose plan of like, here's 7 ideas for dinner for this week. And just sort of pick and choose as you want to, my brain will still shut down on that, and I will make something that's totally off the list for dinner without even realizing I'm doing it. What works best for me is doing a food prep instead of actually meal planning and doing a meal prep. All right, my first tip is going to be that you only want to focus on what you can eat within a 4 to 7 day period. I like to make veggie boxes every single time that we go to the store, whether it's with sliced up colorful peppers or if it's celery and carrots. I won't do cucumbers ahead of time because those get kind of gross. But if I'm gonna be making a veggie box, which I almost always do to simplify my life, I'm only gonna think about doing it for 4 to 7 days. The veggies start to get a little bit weird after that. And yes, you can save them by putting them in fajitas or putting them in an egg scramble or a frittata or adding them to whatever you're cooking. You can easily do that and salvage them and not waste them. But for a fresh vegetable side dish on our lunch plates or just as a snack for the girls, it's a lot easier to get them to eat non-slimy peppers. So I only like to cut up 4 to 7 days worth of vegetables for my veggie boxes. I'm also thinking about the amount of condiments we use. I like to make a lot of condiments here in my house, especially mayonnaise and ranch dressing. And having those two on hand at all times is very key for my family. We eat a lot of those two condiments. I use mayonnaise in a lot of different ways. My family loves to have mayonnaise on a lot of different things. It just kind of adds that creaminess to a dish without adding any extra dairy, and it's pure fats. Having those things in my food preps every single week, I know I'm not going to go through and make a gallon of mayo that may go bad in a month. I'm going to make 2 of my bottles, which is about 3 cups of mayonnaise for that week or that week and a half, depending upon how much we're eating at one time. But I'm only going to make what we can eat within about a week. So that is the number one thing that I like to keep in mind. I also like to keep in mind, it's kind of like a follow-up to that. I am not focusing on a once a month freezer prep where I'm going to go through and I'm going to make some of the Trim Healthy Mamas lasagna. I'm not planning on going through and putting up a whole bunch of freezer lasagnas and 400 freezer muffins in individual bags and having like, I don't know what else, like a whole bunch of breakfast burritos available in my freezer at all times. Like, I'm not looking to fill my freezer with a weekly food prep. I'm really just trying to make my life simplified and streamlined during the week that we're going to be consuming that food. I might make some breakfast burritos, but I'm not going to make 28 of them. I'm going to only make, say, about 8. Another thing that really I was thinking about, because this was not my reality the last time I went and food prepped, having your kitchen clean. Not just like everything in it clean, but like having cleared off countertops. I like to use a dish drying mat for anything that has to be hand washed, and oftentimes I will not put those dishes away immediately after they're dry. I'll usually wait until I start using some things off of the mat, and then I'm like, oh, I need to wash more dishes, so let me clear off the mat and then, start the cycle over again. But it's kind of an opportunity for slowing me down. And while we don't have 100,000 activities that we're a part of right now, or appointments that we're meeting right now, we do have a lot of hustle and bustle around the house. I'm constantly playing entertainment guide for my children, not constantly, but constantly directing them to things that they can do, constantly teaching them how to help out around the house, mitigating squabbles and taking care of the laundry and the housework and the food and all of that jazz while I bring them along with me. So it of course takes about 18 times longer. I want to streamline my food process. It's a time waster for me if my kitchen is not completely clean. It's also unrealistic to expect my kitchen to be completely clean, and I can recognize that and appreciate that so very much. But if I can start with a fresh kitchen that's like everything in place, my ability to work through my food prep list is so much more expeditious. Another thing that I was thinking about is that whenever I'm going about doing a food prep, sometimes I'm prepping things that are going to be like a treat throughout the week for us, or something that's like a breakfast item. And I think to myself like, oh, I am a little bit hungry. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bake the XYZ muffins. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to taste them. I'm just going to taste test them. I can eat a lot of unnecessary food whenever I am food prepping if I am hungry. I like to make sure that I have eaten food or I have something to drink nearby so that I don't get tempted to snitch constantly. But also, like, it's easier to stay focused on your tasks whenever you're not thinking like, ooh, I am hungry, I should eat some of this. All right, let's see. I wrote down a whole list here on my iPad. I like to plan for more things to make than I might have time to do, because if I find that I can get through a lot of these things really, really quickly, and then I have some extra time where I'm like, ooh, the girls are still occupied playing in the little pool we have in the backyard, I can get XYZ done, but I don't really have all the things. So if I plan to make more things and don't get to them, I feel like I'm successful. If I get to everything and have nothing left to prep, I feel kind of lazy. That's a me thing. So that's one thing I like to do for sure. Over plan and get done what I can get done, like completed. If I can't complete it, then I don't really count it. The last tip that I think I want to share is just being mindful of the timing of things. What's going to take a lot of hands-on time versus what can you do your short hands-on time first with, and then hands-off time to continue on with the next thing. And I feel like that's kind of like a common sense tip, but I can often get sidelined and distracted with, oh, I want to cut up my peppers first because those are taking up space in my refrigerator, instead of thinking, ooh, I really need to make some wonderful white blender bread. That's going to take at least 40 minutes to bake in my oven. Let me blend that up really quickly, get that in the oven, and then I can do my pepper box or whatever. And I don't say that to you because I think you might not know that. I say that to you because I'm telling you that's where I could use some reminders for myself, and me talking through that really helps. So yeah, those are some of my tips that I like to think about whenever I'm doing a food prep. I don't think about them every single time, and I have been doing food preps for quite some time for our family. I am the main cook in our family. Jared likes to cook as well, but it's not really something that he is super passionate about, and I am. So I do a lot of the cooking in my house, and I like to do food preps to ease my time in the kitchen, like alleviate some of the stress points, and to just make our lives a little bit more smooth. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really want you to check out that playlist down below. And if you found any value in this, I would love for you to like this and subscribe if that's something you feel like you want to do, you feel like this is clicking. I encourage you to subscribe to let me know that this is clicking. And I hope to see you in my next video.